So, Lynn Ruth Miller, thank you very much for joining me today on the podcast. So excited to see you and have a discussion.
I'm delighted to be here. I'm just delighted to be here. And we had a little bit of trouble getting it started, but here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I've been looking forward to this chat since we organized it, so
Oh,
I'm delighted it
well, I
could
think
happen.
you need to tell me what you want, how you want me to begin, because 87 years is a lot of. We could be here for 3 months, and so I was born.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all, how are you doing? How are you handling the pandemic?
Surprisingly enough, I have enjoyed it. And the reason I have enjoyed it, haven't enjoyed all of it. In the beginning, I had the virus, so I wasn't too happy with things then. I
Right.
had a very, very mild case. I had a very mild case, but I lost my sense of smell and taste. Otherwise, I would not have known that I had it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sick, all told, for a month. And the interesting thing is, the last week in February, I went to Newcastle and I was having trouble breathing.
Right.
I thought it was because I was used to smoke. And I went to Euston Station. I asked for help because I actually could not drag the suitcase with wheels. I couldn't do it. And she said, "Oh," she said, "it's the air. Everyone's got it. That was the virus." And we didn't know.
Right.
We were like, yeah. But so what you don't know and nobody knows is that when I was 36, I had a complete physical breakdown, which I've always believed was in my head, but the doctors didn't think so. And my body fell apart. So when I got out of the hospital that time, and
Mm-hmm.
that was 4 months, and then I went back, had a relapse for 2 months. And then instead of going back, they sent me to Henry Ford Hospital for another month. It was awful. But when I decided to heal myself, which is another story, but it took me. I figured out I was 36 when the thing happened. I was 48 when I was able to leave Toledo. I was an invalid then for 12 years.
12
Not
years.
really an invalid. I was not bedbound, but I lived the life of lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I had two dogs, and I walked my two dogs miles and miles. And I painted pictures. I don't know if you can see, but I paint.
Yeah.
Um, and I wrote stories. And I had just about zero friends. I was living in a trailer court. I'm trailer trash. I'm trailer trash. Um, and they were lovely, lovely people, but they weren't people that I had anything in common with at
Yeah.
all. So they were really lovely, but I never, would have met them for lunch or had them over for dinner. Nothing like that. They were lovely people. I liked my neighbors, but that was it. So I had pretty much a lockdown life for 12 years. So all I did was after the shock, and then I was sick. So I was only actually in bed with the flu for a week, not even a week, for about 3 days. So so there was that shock there. And then I just adapted because I lived that way for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I know there are devices that you need to do when you're in a situation like lockdown. For example, you have to give your day structure.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't know that. They think, oh, nothing to do.
Yeah.
You give yourself structure. You eat at a particular time. You get up at a particular time. You
Exactly.
need to do it. You need to give yourself, uh, I believe in exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk twice a day. So I got myself, but it was just sort of like back in the saddle again. I had done
Yeah.
it
You
for
had the
12 years.
experience already.
So it was not terrifying. What I did miss, and this is interesting because I live alone, but people are very affectionate with old people, and I like that. Everybody kisses me, especially in London. Maybe not so much in Berlin, but London, they all kiss little old ladies hello and goodbye. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have people kiss me. I don't even know them. I say, "Excuse me, would you tell me your name?" They do, and so there was nobody here, and that was difficult.
Yeah.
That was difficult. But there's a man named Rob Mayhew, and we always say, "Oh yeah, remember that was the night you gave me COVID," because I was with him the last day before I hibernated, before I did lockdown, and I had it at that time, but I didn't know it. But he would come over, and I was at his house last night. He would come over every Friday, and so I got to meet someone, but I didn't get
Yeah.
any hugs or any,
Yeah.
and I believe that single people without any living thing suffered the most from this.
For sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've got to have a connection, and I had none, and I have no family, so so there was nothing like let's. I'll sit. I'll talk to you from the window. You know, they used to do that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have anything like that. What I did have is there's a website called Nextdoor. Do you know about that
I don't
website?
know about that
Oh,
website. No.
it's worldwide, and your neighbors. You join it with you put your postcode in,
Mm-hmm.
and your neighbors, and that's how I got my shoppers. And now both my shoppers are really good friends. They're really good
That's
friends.
really good initiative then.
Yeah. So I had that. So I actually had human contact. But for me, and I wrote about this, James. And when we finish, now that we're on email, I'll send you the essay I wrote because it hasn't been published. They made a blanket statement that people over 70 were as good as dead, and
That's right. Yeah. And that
and
really wouldn't have gone down well with you, I don't think.
no, it did not go down well at all. But the thing you have to understand is I was reading this book by this physician, and he was saying, when I examine a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, you know, just giving them a physical, the results that I'm putting down on the piece of paper for each kid is very similar. Similar blood pressure, similar blood work, similar everything. But when I examine people over 70, they are so different because we age at such different rates, such completely different rates that we're all very different. So to make a blanket thing and say everyone over 70 is at risk with people like me, how do I explain it? My horizon, in other words, how long I'm going to be here, is closer than yours. You
Yeah.
know, everybody, I mean, for example, my nephew just died. I still can't believe it. Was 53 and he died. So you never know when you're going to go. You never know. But mine is definitely closer than yours, even though it might not be. Tomorrow you can go out and get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I can plan as my foreseeable future, it's
Mm-hmm.
closer. And they took away 6 months of what has been feeding me for the
Yeah.
last 16 years.
They decided for you in a way, didn't they?
That's right. But they took away, and that's paternalism. And I don't think people realize how very ageist we all are. You simply do not realize that I am ageist.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to admit it, but I am. I
Yeah.
live in a building that's called sheltered housing. And there the 66 flats here. Of that 66, I would say that 60 are single old men from 65 to 91. Leon is 91. I don't know. I've gotten to know more of them now that we've had lockdown, but I didn't know any of them.
Yeah.
But I look at them, and they're most of them are 10 years younger than I. They move here when they're 65, and most of them, because I'm 87, so about. So they were there. And I look at them, and they're not living their lives. They have decided they're not living a life. They
Mm-hmm.
have decided they're too old.
Yeah.
They've decided it. They could do more, but they've decided I can't do anymore.
That's
So they
right.
watch television. I decided I'm not going to stop. I made that decision. But in my head, when I see these little old men are 10 years younger than I am. I treat them like little old men. You know, can I help you up the steps? You know, that
Yeah.
kind of, I'll
Yeah.
carry your packages.
Take me to
That's ridiculous.
groceries. Yeah, true. Well,
But
I did some research on you, and you did say that how you age is definitely a choice that you get to make.
yes, these people have not made that choice. They don't, and I think it's that they don't realize they have options.
Mm-hmm.
So I find in myself lots of things. For example, I'm very vain. I love dressing. But when I look in the mirror now, I am not happy with what I see, and
Mm-hmm.
because my generation did not think this was acceptable.
Yeah.
And you and people throughout the world are so terrified of the visible aging. They are so terrified of it. I don't know if you're aware of the immense, immense increase in plastic surgery, not just for women, for men as well. I'll never forget my dentist who decided to have his eyelids, under his eyes fixed. And
Yeah.
I said, why are you doing that? Just because, and men are having plastic surgery as well.
Oh, a lot of people are doing it now with the eyes because of the mask, actually. There's been a new increase
Oh, I
because
didn't
now the
realize
eyes are the
that.
only thing
Yes.
visible. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. I can't wear a mask because I have emphysema. I was a smoker. And
Right.
I can't wear a mask. However, when I went to France, in one place it was all right, but at the railway station, the guy said, "Not in France. You're going to wear it anyway." So
Yeah.
I held it out because I can't breathe with it.
Yeah, I understand.
But yes, it's a lot of, but it's a lot of, um, it's an emphasis. If you read the ads, I don't know how many ads I get all the time for anti-aging cream.
Yeah.
And what I am hoping is that people who are doing what I'm doing, and I'm not alone, James, there are many, I'm very visible, but there are many people my age who are leading very active, productive lives.
Hmm.
Productive is the key word.
Yeah.
Many of them will say to me, well, we play golf every day and we go on cruises and that's not productive. I started a new career when I was 70. There's no excuse.
Hmm. Well,
There's
that's
no
very, it's kind of interesting too, because people the same age as you, but then I also know a lot of people in like my age, which is, 35 years old, who's still afraid to try career at this age though.
they say, oh, well, I can't start now. Well, I started when I was 30. I became a journalist. I was a
Hmm.
teacher. I had a master's degree in education. And then when I was 30, I got a master's degree in journalism. And then when I was 60, I started writing books. I started writing.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to be a novelist. Um, but reinventing yourself is terribly important. There's a book by Betty Friedan, and I'm not going to recommend it because it's the most boring book. But Jesus, but what she says is terribly important. She says the problem is that people are terrified of aging, terrified. And so what they do is they try to keep the same pace, do the same activities, expecting the same result when they're 60 that they got when they were 20. And
Right.
she puts it this way: we've got to play different games. And
Yeah.
I thought about that, and I thought, yes, she's right, because I too, um, I believe in working. I mean, I work, but why do we have to do that?
Mm.
Why do we really have to work like that? She was the one, and it was Adrian Rich that made me realize that capitalism is fundamentally putting people into slavery.
Yeah. They're going
I
into
didn't know
debt
that.
and they're trying to fix it from that moment, really.
That's right.
Chasing
And
our tails.
socialism is becoming so paternalistic. I read, what did I read? That, and I think of myself as left politically.
Hmm.
And then I read somewhere that they said that people who are really left, very left, don't believe that human beings have the capacity to make their own decisions. That's the reason why we have this fucking lockdown.
Yeah.
That's why we have safety belts. I mean, why can't we decide whether we want to wear a safety belt or not? I
Yeah.
went through the windshield of a car. I know what it's like. But if
Yeah.
I'm
I've had my
going
lesson.
if I'm driving, which thank God I don't do anymore, but believe it or not, you don't miss it when you give up driving. I drove,
Really? I
no, I drove
love
until I was
driving.
80. I don't miss it, except when I go to the grocery store because
Yeah.
I can't carry everything. But you, where was I in all this?
Free choice that we
Yes,
can't decide for
right.
ourselves.
You can't. I'm going back to the original thing. You can't expect the same result now that I'm 60. If I'm involved in the walk I take, Google says it's going to take 20 minutes. It's not going to take me 20 minutes. It's going to take me 25.
Yeah.
I expect that. I love the idea of hula hooping. Well, I can't. I've tried it. I can't. You have different, but I still like exercise, so I
Right.
walk. There are things as you grow older. There are things you can't do that you used to be able to do, but
Mm-hmm.
there are things you can do that you couldn't do before. I have a lot of perspective. We were talking about this before we started recording. I get along with people who differ from me
Yeah.
a lot more, a lot easier than I did when I was your age. I mean, I accept that each quality that I like in a person has a backside, and the
Mm-hmm.
backside is going to be something I don't like. If
Yeah.
you're spontaneous and you're effervescent and you're ready for adventure, you're going to be unreliable. You're going to be not. You're going to be not stick to one thing.
Yeah.
You're going to be annoying.
To put it bluntly.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But if you like that wonderful spontaneity, it's you just accept that that person is never going to be on time for a date.
Yeah, it's going to come with its downsides for
You
sure.
know, it comes with the territory, and you know that. I can accept that. I can also. This was hard for me. I do not get into arguments anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People raise their voice to me. I know uh, I'm not going to win. I
Yeah.
turn around and walk away.
Yeah, I've
Which
started doing that a lot too myself.
you must. You
Yeah.
just you walk away. You're not going to win. You're not going to. There's no such thing as winning anyway. You're not going to change their mind. And if they're all heated up, they're not going to listen to any kind of reason.
No.
That for you to stoop to their level, you've lost the war.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Very
I can
true.
do that now. If I could have done that in my marriage, I might still be married.
Mm.
But when I was younger, I fought back.
Yeah.
I don't fight back. It's
Hmm.
okay. I lost.
Yeah. Move on.
Uh,
Next
and, and
thing.
and knowing that there are options as you get older. I know just how you feel. In my 30s, I was desperate to get a job in journalism, just desperate. And my thinking was what you're thinking. My God, if I don't get established now, everybody got established in journalism when they're 20.
Yeah.
I'll do this now. I'm done. I didn't, and I
Hmm.
wasn't done. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Well, what would you say to someone sort of struggling with that at well, any age really of changing careers or just trying to be brave with something new? These sort of things that fear overtakes them.
You have one life. The only thing you're in control of is your life.
Hmm.
You think, all of us think, oh, I've got to do this for him, and I've got to do them for that, and I've got my parents are this, and my parents are that. Your life is the only thing. That's all. You
Yeah.
don't have to do anything. One of the interesting things is I have a very difficult sister who was very active in trying to hurt me and deprive me of anything family wise,
Okay.
money, privilege, support. I mean, active and
Was
deliberately trying.
that younger age or in like
8 years
recently?
younger. A little bitch. Well, she's not a little bitch. She's a big fat bitch. But anyhow, really horrible,
Yeah.
horrible. And I would all. And when my parents died, because she was the baby, I
Hmm.
felt I had an obligation to keep a connection. And my niece, who was party to all this, she said to me, Aunt Lynn, she said, why don't you just divorce her? And I thought, oh, I never thought of that. And I have done that. She has not divorced me. She still sends me messages on Facebook and things like that. But I divorced her when I
Yeah.
was like 53 or 54. And once I did that, I didn't have that thing inside me being angry at everything she did
Yeah.
and resenting everything she accomplished. That's her problem. Good.
You were
Do it.
free from it.
I was free from it.
Yeah.
We've got so you have this one life. And the hardest thing of all, particularly with relationships, James, You're in a relationship. I happen not to believe in marriage. Of
Hmm.
course I don't. I had 2 divorces. They were a mess. I don't believe in marriage.
Yeah.
I believe that two people, as long as they're growing together, great. Why do you need a piece of paper? But eventually, one's going to go this way and one's going to go that way. Not always. And when it works, yay. But when
Yeah.
it doesn't work, when this starts happening, you've got to have the courage to say, we're not happy together anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because the one thing you must realize, and everyone must realize, is we make our own happiness. That's so hard. It's not where you live. It's not your mom and your dad. It's not your partner. It's not that bastard in the flat downstairs. No, it's you. It's
Yeah.
how you're looking at what's happening to your life.
Hmm.
Yesterday was a very, very bad day for me, but I'm smart enough to know it's the way I was looking at that day.
Yeah. Your perception,
That's
how
it.
you react.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you want to wallow in self-pity, treat yourself. Wallow in it, but
Yeah.
no, you are the cause.
That's it. I don't have a lot of patience for people who like to wallow. Sometimes I'm too harsh, but I like to
Oh,
look at the solution. Let's look at
that's right. You
solutions. Let's
think to
talk.
yourself,
Let's plan.
what can I do about it? And you begin to chip away at it.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as failure. When I talk, like in my Frida thing, I don't know whether you saw the Frida video that I have a crush on Lynn Ruth Miller. It's a Frida
Ah,
video.
yes, I did see that. Yeah.
6.2 million hits. And one other thing in that, I keep saying, I'm a failure. And the way I say it is exactly right. I've accomplished a lot. I don't look like a failure to you, but I failed at the things that I've been doing. Well, that's the wrong thing to say. I
Hmm.
didn't fail. I experienced it. It didn't come out the way I expected.
Right.
But something else happened.
Exactly.
Something. Well, one of the things that happened when I went to Oklahoma City is I ended up traveling in a travel trailer around Southwest United States. It was the best thing in the world. And it was because, in essence, I failed in Oklahoma City. I got fired. Hello. And I,
Yeah.
and I thought, okay, now what? And I did that.
That's why it's important to make a move rather than just being standing still and waiting for the perfect plan. Like I got into comedy from music. I wasn't very good at music, but I got my
Loved it.
confidence on the stage to try comedy, and then that was home for me. But if I didn't make that mistake, if I didn't take a step in any direction, I wouldn't have been on course to where I am now.
What kind of music? The guitar?
It was like poetry rap, sort of trip hop music.
But that's lovely. And
It was
eventually it's,
it was good, yeah, but I wasn't. I had definitely a ceiling. I wasn't that great at it. I had a lot of fun, a lot of great memories, but I have no regrets. And it's once it led me to comedy, that was it for me.
there's no reason why you have to be best at anything.
Hmm.
I've been doing this now for 16 years. I'm still nowhere near where I want to be.
Yeah.
People that just begin think, oh, she's wonderful. The
Hmm.
people that have been doing it for 30 years look at me and go, yeah,
Yeah. Being there, yeah, for
yeah.
sure. That's one of the best things about comedy. It's like you'll never really touch the
No,
ceiling
you
of your
never
own
get it.
ability.
But that's why I was talking about the going back to the first question. I was kept from doing what feeds me,
Hmm.
and it was awful. And I had my first on stage gig last Saturday, and I was rusty because I hadn't done it.
That's right.
I'm sure you remember. I always end with a zinger, with a
Hmm.
yeah, and I couldn't remember what it was. I ended with, um, they gave me a light, and I said, "Are you telling me that I don't have much time left?" I know I don't have, yeah, but
Yeah.
that wasn't the ending that was supposed to be. The ending that's supposed to be is, oh, I've got two of them. One is let's hear it for women, um, and I go into a whole thing about I would get so much more if I were a man, but if I were a man, I would be a cunt. And that's how I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I know that one.
I
Yeah.
remember, and it's a good ending, but I didn't remember it. And, but I did 2 sets, and that's another thing. I have about 3 hours of material, but I did the same set upstairs and downstairs because I was too rusty to branch out into something new.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have all the things together. Now I could do it. Now I would do a different set each time. But the important thing. So lockdown, as I said, moved my horizon was closer than yours, uh, in essence.
Yeah.
And this lockdown, which was unnecessary for me, because I had the virus, so
Hmm.
I'm virtually immune for a couple months anyway.
Yeah.
And B, I have the energy, but it did me no good because I didn't have my audiences.
Yeah. Yeah, and the live comedy, it's great, but if you don't get that post show hanging out with other comedians and the audience, then you also lose that connection that's
Oh, it's
great
terrible.
after a show.
And when you're doing jokes, people say there are two parts to a joke: set up, punch. There
Hmm.
aren't. There are three: set up, punch, laugh. And
Yeah.
when you do it on Zoom,
Ah, it's horrible. I didn't do
it
many
is
of those
horrible.
shows because it just felt so, I felt like a beginner, a useless hack
Uh-huh.
beginner.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Because you're not getting the audience response. The
Uh,
thing when I looked, they were really wonderful at Top Secret, and they taped us, which is unbelievable. It's a gift to get a tape of what you did. And what I noticed is, boy, I did a lot of audience connection.
mhm.
And of course on Zoom you can't do that. You can't
No.
look at someone and say, does that happen to you? Or
Yeah,
I do a
exactly.
thing, I do a thing about how now that I'm so old, mornings are go on forever. Now, because it takes me forever to get dressed. And so I said to this one kid, how long does it take you? Because when I was young, I got dressed in 5 minutes. I was ready to go out.
Yeah, just
And
roll out the door, really.
yeah, and this guy said to me 35 minutes. So I was having a good time with, what do you do? You know, what do you wash and do?
Yeah.
What's going on with you? And the audience so anxious for a laugh. And of course, every time they laugh, they're spreading that virus all over because nobody's wearing masks.
That's it.
People are very afraid, and I am very upset. And what's the word I want? I am not happy about what this reaction to the virus has caused,
Hmm.
because people always, from time immemorial, have always been afraid of what others think of them. But now we're just plain afraid of others.
Yeah. Full stop.
What's it doing in Germany? It's not that way at all. Nobody's wearing masks.
No, everyone's wearing masks in shops and transport. So it's been pretty well respected, but it's a party capital, Berlin. People want to go and party, and the virus can spread quite easily here, especially in
So is
Berlin.
London.
Yeah, yeah,
And central London has totally collapsed. It's empty. You go downtown, and it used to be thousands of people. Now
yeah,
there's hardly anyone. And people have, but there's some good things that have happened. I think families have either been reinstated or else they murdered each other. That's the
yeah,
other thing that I'm concerned about. In London, particularly in England, there's been a tremendous upsurge of domestic abuse. And we,
yeah,
and you know, people don't realize it. They say these upper middle class women. Do you know what a Karen is?
yeah.
A
Of course,
Karen is,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, they're all Karens, and they all say, "Well, we have a phone number for them. If you've ever been abused, and I have, you think you can get to a phone?
yeah.
You think you can get to a door to get out?
No, you're
They'll
really
beat the
trapped.
crap out of you. You can't do anything but duck if you're lucky."
Mm,
And especially, I remember the guy that was beating me. He was so much bigger than I that I could have beaten him with my fists, and he wouldn't have even felt it. And you can't. And then you've got children there. The domestic abuse. It's like the most fertile ground for
mm,
these insecure people, because people who are abusers are insecure, to
yeah,
just vent their rage on the nearest human being, and that the human being can't get away. And then you do things like, oh, we'll help you. Well, where are they supposed to go?
yeah,
People are afraid. Where are they supposed to go? People are terrified of each other now. If you fall on the street, it's a little better now. But in the beginning, you fell in the street, nobody would pick you up.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's so I am terrified with what the reaction has done to human communication and an interaction. And I think it's fostered insecurity. It's fostered self-doubt.
Yeah.
Uh, and it also, so so I'm very anxious for all of this to lift. But on the other hand, I don't want people to die. But I remember, we talk about this a lot too. I remember we had a polio epidemic in America. It
Yeah.
didn't shut down. It didn't shut down the
The
world.
economy and yeah.
And polio was not like this, in that with polio, you definitely got
Yeah,
lame.
much higher rate.
Do
Yeah.
you know anyone that's had it? Because I know someone from there was an epidemic in the 50s, and then there was one, I think, in the 40s or 30s, that he wanted to be a dentist, and it permanently harmed the muscles in his hand. And he had a post-polio reaction, and he's dead also, and shouldn't
Right.
be. Tommy.
Mm.
But Tommy, I have to say that he was in his, well, he would be in his early 80s. My nephew that died when he was 53, God knows what. That's horrible loss of life. But this is the thing. People don't realize that life can go like this.
Yeah.
But those are the two things that I've learned, is life always can go like this. And if your life is going like that, only you can change it.
Mhm.
It might always be like that. And that you have choice.
Sorry, Lynn, looks like we just had a connection issue there, but it gives me a chance to talk about something else. I was doing a bit of research on you, and I see that, yeah, 2 honours degrees, you taught as a professor, you had your own children's show on
That's right.
CBN, you're a painter,
Yeah.
a columnist, an
Yep.
author, 5 books, and your
No,
most
no more than that, 16 altogether.
16 is okay. Then I didn't do my good research at all.
Yeah.
And
No, nobody knows about 16, but only 5 published.
I want to talk to you about the last one a bit later as well. And then comedian, burlesque, traveling the world. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, what the hell drives this woman?
um, First of all, I'm alone. I'm alone. I don't have to cook for someone, clean for someone. Um, I don't have any responsibility except the responsibility to myself. This
Yeah.
is not something I wanted to happen, but it did. And I discovered, well, I have to say, with everything, I've always loved what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the motivation. People say to me, what pushes you? It's wanting to do more of what I'm doing, but really wanting to. And remember, there's nobody here. I can't say, uh, can you help me do this? If
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do it, I got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my friend Columba Corbett, wonderful woman, who had an art exhibition, and she had 9 kids. Every one of her children came to the art exhibition, and all the husbands and wives of those children brought their families.
Yeah.
She had like 500 people. She sold out. I have an exhibition of no one. That's it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
very different.
So I've got to push. I've got to do it. And if I want my paintings to be exhibited, I've got to do the work that
Yeah.
picks them up. Nobody's going to help me take it. Nobody's going to help me put them up there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to take the money. I'm going to have to do the whole thing. So you have to really love. So one of the things I do is I do not exhibit.
Yeah.
Because I like painting. And we talked about this. There's 24 hours in the day, and 8 of them, I sleep, 8 of them. We've got the rest of them. What's that? That's 16 left.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
And you're going to eat it, and you're going to do other things. So I want to use it to, what I want and what everyone wants, I call it homeostasis, loving where you are. I am happy with my life.
Mm-hmm.
When I wake up in the morning, which is always a surprise, but when I wake up in the morning, I got lots to do.
Yep.
And it's all stuff I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Which
Or
is, yeah,
it's
it's
stuff,
amazing.
or it's stuff making what I want to do happen.
Yep. Because you self organize all your tours to Asia and things like that.
Right.
It's all you, isn't it?
That's
On the
right.
most part.
Because I don't have an agent, because agents don't think I'll live long enough to make money. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because I'm in control.
Yeah.
And I've self-published my books.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a publisher. That's very funny. For the very first book, Starving Hearts, which is about anorexia, I did have a publisher, but he wanted all the rights for 10 years. And I was 68 by the time I found a publisher. And I thought, oh no, 78, I'll be dead. No, I'm not going to do that. And of course,
Yeah.
that's almost 10 years ago. Yeah,
Mm.
I've lived 10 years longer. But uh, you, and also I think I'm a control freak. I think people that have eating disorders are.
Yeah.
I'm a control freak. And I like that I'm in control. Once I did that first self-publication, which was Starving Hearts, which paid for every book I published after, I knew then that the only way for me, it doesn't have the prestige, but the only way for me is self-publishing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you publish with a publisher, they don't think you're as important as you do.
Absolutely not.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so they don't make a big effort for you. So you've got to do that yourself.
Mm.
And but you've got to want to. And which goes right back to, we were in the midst of relationships. I don't believe that we're meant to live with someone for 60 years. I mean, I can't even live with a pair of knickers for 5. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But we're at but so social customs makes us think it's wrong after you've been with someone for 20 years to leave.
Yeah.
But
It's a
if you're
myth.
different people at the end of 20 years, you owe it to each other.
Yeah. If you've changed apart, then just sticking together for the sake of it isn't. And the other myth is that only a small percent fail and a majority make it, but it's the reverse, actually. You can make it for lifetime partners. It happens, but it's not as often as people who just divorce or stay together unhappily.
I just got a letter because I'm doing promotion for the book. So I'm hearing from people I haven't heard from in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a wonderful friend who said, yes, I'm still with Darwin, but we're just friends. It's time to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no excitement there. There's no interest. It's time to leave.
Yeah.
We have trouble. Everyone's afraid of the unknown. And maybe that's the thing, James. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you think that is?
Well, because they've got a lot tied up in the present. I don't. They've got
Okay.
the
Yeah. Due
children,
to
they've
age.
got the
Yeah.
husband, they've got the house they own, they've got all that. What if I
Comes
have
with
to lose
worries.
all that?
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost it already. There is one of the things that I have said is there's absolutely nothing in life other than murder that I haven't really gone through once. So I'm coping because
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. I'll figure out a way. And it may not be what I want, but it'll be a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, people say, well, I'm a survivor. Well, I don't think I'm a survivor. I think I like to say I'm an entrepreneur with life.
Yeah.
I'm making
That's
it
a
happen.
nice term.
Yeah, an entrepreneur with life.
Mm.
And I look at the possibilities. When we had the lockdown, aside from the fact that I sort of slipped into my old routine, I started learning that when you do a Zoom comedy, not nearly as satisfying, but it's a different technique as well.
Yeah.
And your comedy, as a matter of fact, would adapt very well to it because you tell stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good at that. It doesn't feel like it though, because you're not hearing the laughter.
No, I don't enjoy it. Yeah, I didn't do
No
a lot
one
of it.
does.
No, it's
It's
true.
it's awful.
Yeah.
But once you get started on it, and once you learn, I shouldn't say. I don't want to say I don't. I want to say to you, I don't love it.
Yeah.
But I'm an egomaniac anyway, and I'm sitting there looking at myself telling a story, and I like doing it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to lose this thing I discovered 16 years ago. It's
Right.
so 17.
D-
And if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Do you think it was those 12 years from when you're 36 to 48? Do you think that was really gave you that hunger then to do everything you've ever wanted to do? Like, do you think that contributed a bit,
I,
feeling like
have,
you were stuck for a
I
while?
haven't thought about that. I have always, do you know what hubris is? Hubris,
Mm.
false pride. I've got it.
Yeah.
I've always believed, because remember, I was beaten down by my family all the time. So there are two ways to go when you're beaten down by your family. One is to accept it and say, yeah, I'm no good. And the other is to say, no, no, you don't see how great I am. I know this has just been ever since I was a little girl. No, I'm really good. And I really wasn't. But I thought, no, no, I can do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
really couldn't. But I said, yes. And then I stumbled and fell and I thought, okay, try again. So it's been the pattern of my life.
Yeah.
And during those 12 years, I never stopped writing. I never stopped applying for jobs. I never got one. I finally did after 12 years.
Yeah.
I never stopped believing I could better the situation I was in. That's the other thing. I've never been, there's a danger in being too complacent.
Mm-hmm.
When you're earning enough money, you've got the wife or the husband that you want, and life is comfortable, you're pretty complacent.
Yeah.
And you think, you know, I'm not going to rock the boat. I would like to do a career in music, but I'm not going to rock the boat. I've got a good thing going here. And then after 10 years, the good thing gets to be the same old, and you haven't done anything
Mm-hmm.
to open up a new avenue.
Yeah.
I've never been complacent because I've never been there.
Is that why you have so much energy and spark? Like, I know a lot of people, a lot of different ages, and besides like my 7-year-old niece, I think you've got more energy than all of them, right?
I don't think of it. People say that to me. I mean, I just met my darling friend Richard, who is 9 years younger than I, and he said, "Where do you get your energy?"
Mm-hmm.
It's because life hasn't beaten me down. I see new things I can do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
now
you're open to new things. I think that's key.
I've got a new book now. I've got to start promoting it, and I can't promote that book the way I used to promote my books because I don't have any hard copies.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking, what can I do? I'm going to try to find book clubs. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to see whether I can get them interested in the book.
Yeah.
I will probably have a 5% success. I mean, that Frida thing and still shocks me. 6
The
million,
amount of hits.
6.2. Now it's 6.2 million.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking in that 6.2, it's called I Have a Crush on Lynn Ruth Miller.
Yeah, I
In
saw it. I
that,
watched a few videos. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you could
In
put
that,
in the comments there too, by the way. You could comment
yeah,
under that video with the link, or you did it already.
yeah, but there's thousands and thousands. And I get things on Facebook all the time. I want
Yeah.
to grow up to be you. No, you don't. You want to grow up to be you. But the thing is that of that 6.2 million, my two husbands, my mother, my father, my sister, were not among those who had a crush on me. And
Yeah.
I believe that's what makes me keep going for the next thing.
Yeah, that's the push.
I am not afraid of death, but I have a lot to do. I've got
Mm-hmm.
to promote the book. The book is called, shall we talk about the book
Yeah,
a
tell
little?
us about the book, please.
The book is called Getting the Last Laugh. Getting the Last Laugh.
It's a great name.
And there is a cover of me. There's a cover of me holding a little Irish dog,
Mm-hmm.
on the cover. There was another publication. This is another example of my false starts. that was supposed to be out December 19th. And December 17th, they withdrew the contract. But they sent out pre-order books, and that is online, but don't get it. It's called The Last Laugh.
Yeah, different cover as well.
And it's a different cover. It's me in a feather boa, and it costs more. Don't get that. It's Getting the Last Laugh. And what it is it answers, it shows you all, instead of telling you, how I made this career. And for someone like you, there's a whole chapter that is a set. And it says, when this joke doesn't work, I do this.
Ah,
And
nice.
I put this joke, yeah. And there is also a whole chapter on a tour I created.
Very interesting.
So that you can say, I can create this career.
Mm-hmm.
Because it tells you the names of the people that helped me.
Yeah.
So you can find it. So it's good for that. It also tells you, because there's a tremendous problem with Facebook. You go on Facebook and you say, gee, all these people are succeeding at everything. And I'm failing at everything.
Yeah.
Oh, because you don't see what it took for them to get there.
Exactly. Like the iceberg.
In this book, it tells you what it took to get there.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just relevant for anyone who's interested in comedy. I think it's an inspirational story across the board.
But I hope so. I hope so. It's the one that says, I've always wanted to sing. Well, why the fuck don't you?
Yeah. That's it. You're the only one stopping you.
Well, they're not going to listen at first. One of the wonderful stories that goes right back to what we talked to in the beginning. As you get older, you're playing different games, but you're expecting the same result. There's this man, and I don't know his name, but he's in a book with me. But the book is called The Age of Happiness, and he's in that book. He had terrible back problems, and he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, we need to do some extensive surgery. And he said, I still can't believe this, but it's true. He said, I'm not going to do surgery. I'm going to take up ballet. And the doctor said, you're going to kill yourself. He said, no, I'm going to take up ballet. And he did. And it took him 10 years, but now he's dancing with major companies. So when people hear that, they're thinking that they're seeing Rudolph Nureyev or whatever his name is. No, they're not. This is an old man who's doing the kind of dancing he can do. Which isn't leaping all over the place. It's what he can do. And he's in an opera very often called Der Fledermaus, which has, I think it's the jailer, which I don't think he does anything but just sort of walk back and forth. But he's doing it.
Yeah.
I have another friend who is a very extreme comedian. And she's so extreme that she's scary. But she figured out there's a place for what I can do. And she has found it in outrageous films and outrageous, where not like you and I going up and doing the open mics and the stand-up. Because it wasn't working for her. She was terrifying. I mean, my God, she would do things like, I remember in one, she took a thing of those spray cans of whipped cream and shot it all over the audience. Well, yeah, but I don't want to pay $10 for a ticket and then have to go home and take a bath before I can go out. Yeah, she said, but on film, it's marvelous.
Yeah.
Found it. But she went through 10 years where she was in debt.
Yeah.
On dope. So now people look at the stuff and say, oh, look at that success. Look how lucky she is. She has a thing. Oh, and I'm funnier than she is. You're right. You are funnier, but you didn't do the groundwork that she's done.
Didn't hustle. Yeah, people don't see that side of it. People do not see that side.
It's not hustling. It's. I don't like to call it hustling. It's building.
Yeah.
I'm building. There's William David Thoreau says, build your castle, have a castle in the air. And for me, it's success in the performing world, not necessarily comedy, performing. And then start building the steps that go up to it. And what's going to happen is you build the steps. And then right around here, there's where you're going. and you start going over here. You say, what am I doing over here? And then you think, this is interesting. You keep going like this, and you push the green over a little. That's life.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy named Emmanuel. Jesus, what's his last name? He's a very he's a doctor. He's a surgeon, and he wrote an essay saying, "When I am 75, I'm killing myself, because I have seen what happens to bodies at 75, and they're a fucking mess." And he's absolutely right. When I was 75 and I looked in the mirror, my body was a fucking mess. But I was also starting burlesque. I was learning to sing. I was learning to play the ukulele. I was writing another, I'm sure I was writing another book. I'm always writing another book.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting my, you don't know until you get there what it's like to be 75. What you see is not you, because remember, going all the way back to where we started, every person ages at a different rate and a different time. And I do not believe there's a thing, I think it was Somerset Maugham, who said, if you tell me where you were born, what your parents did for a living, and what their economic level is, I can tell you your future. That was so in the 20s and the 30s.
Right.
Thank the God I don't believe in. That's not so now.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely.
You can take who you are and you can make it into something you want, but you gotta do the groundwork. What is it? When I was working remember I worked, I sold sex. I didn't know it, but I was a telephone madam. And when we used to go use the restroom, there used to be a picture of a kid with toilet paper that said, it's never finished. The job is never finished till you do the paperwork. I love that. That's an old.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
You gotta do the work. And the work has to be pleasant. Mm. What I love about comedy is the doing. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
What I love about writing the book is not the book. It's the writing of the book. I love it.
Your passion's in it.
I love the building it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live the same day over and over. Mm-hmm. In this building, those men I was talking about are living the same day over and over.
Yeah. And then they go downhill quicker, I'd imagine.
I don't know.
Health-wise.
It isn't going to be as nice. It's my idea of a happy ending. Of course, all you young people have another idea of a happy ending. But my idea of a happy ending for my life has changed dramatically since I was 20. And this Betty Friedan helped me realize, I don't want the same happily ever after that I wanted when I was 20.
Yeah.
Frankly, it would annoy me. I don't want that. I want recognition for my talent. I want to live in a different place because I want more. I want a puppy. These are the things I want now. When I was 20, I didn't want a puppy. I wanted a man.
Yep. Very different.
Now a puppy pretty much fills the bill.
Yeah.
You just fill the dish and put it on the floor. You don't have to worry. With a man, you got to actually cook. You actually talk to him. What am I going to do if he talks back? No, I don't want that. I want a puppet where you put him on a leash and say, shut up. That's what I want. I didn't want that when I was 20 or 30. When I was 50, I just wanted a buddy. Mm-hmm. Now I don't want a buddy even because that gets in the way. I mean, what if he wants to do something I don't want to do?
Yeah.
Am I going to have to do it?
Yeah.
I'm not in cooperative living anymore. When I was 50, I was.
Yeah.
All right. What do you want? It's what would you like to do tonight? Well, no, what do you want? Well, I don't want that. I know what I want. You want to come along? That's fine. If not, stay home. I mean, I've always said that right now, if I had a partner and the partner would say, well, let's have dinner at 6. And I'd say, you have dinner at 6. I've got things to do. Mm-hmm. That would not be too successful.
Yeah.
I have a different happily ever after.
Yeah.
But I have a happily ever after.
Yeah, and that's all that matters. You adjust as it comes and as time changes. And we have more power than we think to get that happy
That's
ending.
not
People don't
important.
believe that we have enough power. They think we're more victims to what happens rather
We're
than,
not a victim.
yeah,
But this is the most important sentence in this whole conversation. We have the power to get them.
yeah.
Not quickly,
No, not
not
easily.
smoothly,
Hmm.
not smoothly, but there. You're
Yeah.
going to have false starts because that's what life is about. Because nobody can predict the future. Nobody. What is it that they say? Um, Yesterday is gone. Today is all you've got. Tomorrow isn't here yet.
Hmm.
You can make a stab at controlling that tomorrow, but you can't really do it. What if suddenly there's a thunderstorm?
Yeah.
What if suddenly you, I mean, I remember that virus. All of a sudden, everything, I was about to go to Dublin. You know, and I wrote my friends in Dublin and said, yes, I'll do it. 2 days later, Dublin said, you might think you're going to do it, but you can't get in.
Yeah. I had a tour planned as well.
Yes, I couldn't do it. So then you think, will I still want to do it when this thing ends? And then you think, I mean, for me, I'll be 87 and I will guess before it's really smooth, I'll be 88. And then I'm thinking, do I? Well, we'll see. I don't know. But
Hmm.
I know I want to do it now.
Yeah. Perfect. On
It's
that note, Lynn, where can people find you? I'll leave all your book details in the show notes and everything like that in your website.
because I need to sell books. I have
Yep.
now sold all the books that I can sell from the contacts who know me. So
Hmm.
now I need to tap into that 6.2 million
Yeah.
that have a crush on me.
But I think
Um,
it's a story that is very interesting for people from all broad walks of life, to be
it's
honest.
wonderful. It's wonderful that you think so. You know, I think no one, no one thinks that they themselves are that unusual. I
Hmm.
just did what the next day asked me to do.
Yeah.
Um, But the one thing I do have that I know other people don't have is I'm really happy. And this isn't ecstasy. This is happy.
Hmm.
I like the life I have.
Yeah.
I have liked it, and it's been very different since I was 50. Oh,
Yeah.
since I was 48. Yeah, I think that's when I started liking it. Up until then, I just thought, if I hit my head against another wall, I'm going to have a concussion. There was a bam, bam, and nothing ever happened. And then I went back to California, and that's something else. I knew instinctively that California was where I should be. All of us know instinctively, but then we think, oh, yeah, to do it, I'll have to give up this and it'll cost that. When I went to California, I had absolutely no money. And my father said to me, you're going to the highest cost of living in the United States, and you're living on $300 a month. You can't do it. And I knew. And I said, I'm going there. I was happy there when I went to Stanford. I'm going there.
Hmm.
Best decision I ever made in my life. And I defied everyone.
Yeah. Trusted
If
your
you,
instinct.
and I'm telling you, you're in a relationship and now it's just dead end. Trust it. It'll be better out in the unknown.
Hmm.
It will be better because you'll be back in control.
Yeah.
You're in a job that is just the same old, same old, same old. Trust your instinct. My friend Peter Dunbar, God love him, he was in a circle that just seemed to go on, and he decided, I'm breaking it, and he's going to go get a master's degree. I did the same thing with him.
Yeah.
Do it, a departure. And there's going to be a time getting that master's degree where he's not going to be earning money. He was earning plenty of money,
Hmm.
but he's building for a new one.
Exactly.
You
Often
got
when
to do
we,
it.
sorry,
But go ahead.
often when we come to these decisions where we're going to make a change or something like that, the mind can only measure what it can lose. So his income, his stability, these things, it can't measure what you can gain because it has no idea.
Yes, but you will gain.
Yeah,
I
for sure. But I think that's where fear comes from, which we shouldn't listen to.
right, and especially now, especially now. Um, this control, this plastic surgery is a control. So is a lot of IVF.
Hmm.
We're not going to take the chance and just have it. We're gonna make it happen.
Make
The most
sure of it. Yeah.
the most invasive procedure. I cannot tell you, I shudder when I think of it. But you're in control.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let it happen. It can be very beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the things, that I've always said is, I take a chance. We call it stepping out of the box. And maybe the worst will happen. And the truth is, the worst did happen several times. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Still here, still
I'm
kicking.
still here. Yeah, that's one of my endings to my cabaret. I'm still here, aren't I? Yeah, I'm still here. I
Perfect.
loved our conversation.
Likewise. Thank
Oh,
you
so
very much for
where
giving me
can
your
I get
time.
LynnRuthMiller.com.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is LynnRuth82. Facebook is Lynn Ruth Miller. Um, Twitter is Lynn Ruth.
Yep.
Easy.
Perfect. I'll put all the details in with this episode as well, so people can just click and go straight to the book link or
Be
your
sure to give
website.
me a link, and I'll stick it on all those links.
No worries. No
I
worries.
just loved seeing you again, sweetheart. I'll say,
Likewise. Hope I
yeah,
can see you in person very soon.
we'll make that happen. We'll
Yeah.
make that happen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. Lynn Ruth Miller on the Ain't No Guru podcast. Quite a fascinating woman, isn't she? The conversation went absolutely everywhere, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys got something out of it as well. If you did enjoy the episode, please consider sharing it around. That way, more people can click into some of Lynn Ruth's wisdom. It's not every day we have characters like this, so I think it's really fascinating, very inspiring. I will leave all the links for the show in the show notes. That way you can go to Amazon and pick up Lynn Ruth Miller's book. If you're interested, I highly recommend that. You can also go to rankincomedy.com to follow the podcast. Above all else, guys, please take care. I've been James Rankin. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.